Yeah, I got the script from Will Tracy, the co-writer with Seth Rees. Will and I had worked together on an episode of Succession. He'd written it, I'd directed, and we loved working together. And the episode was one big dinner party, basically one big excruciating dinner. And I'd been inspired a lot by Gosford Park and particularly by Robert Altman in general and his whole way of working. And I took that into my approach for the menu and got this fantastic cast who, like me, were drawn to this wonderful writing and these brilliant characters, and then we built it from there.
It was the psychology of Slowick that was most interesting, but the Chef's Table series was really interesting because they're excellent programs that really give you really good portraits of very spectrum of different chefs and their obsession with getting dishes right and the control they need to have and their dedication. And Grant Achatz in Chicago is a restaurant called Alinea. That was the first chef that Marx had watched the Chef's Table on Grant Achatz, because there's a kind of incredible microscopic dedication that he has, which I found very helpful. I mean, you want to get something right. And every night, as an actor on stage, you want to hit the button. And I guess it's the same. Chefs are, in a sense, performing. There's an element of theatre to the grand restaurants, but they're dealing with fine degrees of accuracy in the preparation of things. But they must be allowing inspiration and. You want to have a kitchen that is functioning. Interesting, the atmosphere of kitchens that we learned about. Mm-hmm. Some kitchens, a lot of bullying, a lot of shouting, a lot of quite kind of aggressively hierarchical. But then someone like Dominique Crenn, who's the wonderful woman chef from San Francisco, was advising, she obviously wants to nurture and enable all her chefs. I mean, I think Slowick is probably one of those people who can make you feel 1 minute that you're doing well, and just with the look can kill your confidence the next minute.
There's almost a kind of cult-like devotion from the staff, isn't there, with Slowick, which is, and that, there's the big element of satire, obviously, in the film, but what the extraordinary pressure that these artists is that it's like a long theatre run, but it's a theatre run that's unending. Night after night, these restaurants rarely close. They have to perform at this extraordinarily high level, and this level that can never be sated. There's always the next level to find, and that level of the impossibility of perfection. That's the level where we find Rafe's character in this film.
He never lets loose. I think he goes back to his replica of the restaurant, and he thinks about the next day's production, the next evening. He's got an obsession. I mean, I know it. I can draw a similar parallel. If you've done a performance and it wasn't quite right, and you obsess, you go back, you might have a drink, but you just go, tomorrow that wasn't right, I've got to get that scene, or you're constantly working away at how to be better, how to make it better. You don't really let go. I mean, you can, of course, I can let go, but I think I think the film's portrait and the character that's written and is someone who's got a sort of pathological sense of control.
It's absolute obsession, isn't it? And I loved your approach, your monk-like approach to the character. When we talked about costume, you wanted this no accoutrements, no fuss, just absolute simplicity and functionality in the costume. Right. We needed Dominique to play a role. Dominique Crenn, this extraordinary 3 Michelin stars, she was the first woman in America to be awarded 3 Michelin stars. Her food out of a San Francisco restaurant is extraordinary and very emotionally warm and accessible for such a high level of performance. So we needed her to play a role in creating our menu, in that it needed to be emotionally cold. It sounds like a strange nuance, but it's important when you see the film, it will hopefully be clear. So Dominique, in essence, kind of played a role. She created a menu that Chef Slowick, Rafe's character, would create for us. And in trying to satirize this world, with my version of satire relies on authenticity, and so hence the involvement of Dominique and every level of the the manifestation of our restaurant was immaculately researched by Ethan Toberman, our brilliant production designer, to every detail and every detail of the food, and also our appreciation aesthetically of the food. That these creations they're sculpture, they are objects of art. What they're not necessarily is great fun to eat, and therein lies that's where we get the wedge in hopefully the pod that we're having.